Thank you for tuning in to the Afternoon Pint. This episode is sponsored by Camilla Najat of Exit Realty, Strategy Up Business Consultants, and ISS Atlantic Security Guard Services. Enjoy the show. Cheers!
Cheers!
And welcome to the Afternoon Pint. I'm Mike Tobin.
I'm Matt Conrad.
And who do we have with us today?
Tonya Steinborn.
Tonya, you've been here before.
Yeah.
So the last time that you were here, last time we met, we were together, you stuck me in a tunnel underneath a building that was haunted.
Yes.
Yes. So welcome back.
And he survived.
I did survive.
To tell the
I was
tale.
blindfolded and had headphones on and in these creepy tunnels under the city of Halifax. So you are a returning guest.
Yeah.
But
You should pause and just say, that was not anything, adult. It was for an experiment to kind of get in touch with spirits and stuff.
Yes.
It was a haunted ghost investigation.
Right,
that they
for
took us on,
paranormal
so-
investigations,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You blindfolded him and put earphones on him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
And then what was the purpose of that again? I'm trying to remember.
Because it was just static, and you guys who were up, not in the tunnels, were asking questions to the ghosts in the building, and I was saying the answers that I was hearing and seeing how the questions matched up with the answers.
And some of them did pretty good.
Some of them wind up
good.
weirdly weird.
Do you
Yes.
remember them calling my name? Saying,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So you're a returning guest, but we wanted to have you back for a while now because you said something in that original podcast that we were like, "Woo!"
you just dropped it really
You
quick.
dropped it.
Yeah. Just no warning. Just
You're like,
there you go.
I grew up in a cult.
Yeah.
And
there's
we were
that.
like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And, it was like kind of not something you hear every day.
Right.
And we talked about it after, and we said, man, we didn't really get much about her growing up in a cult, which seemed like a very, maybe one of the most interesting things that were said that episode.
Yeah.
And
Very much so.
And when we had the chance, we talked, and we were like, man, we want to get her back to talk about this. We want to
thank
really
you.
understand what you were going through, what happened, and all
Yeah.
this. What brought
And-
you to here?
But this was the perfect timing, and we can get into this a little bit later but we'll talk about your book. So this is
Yeah.
kind of the perfect timing. So we can save the book stuff for the end to kind of pitch that and all that. And I got to read it today. But so before we get started talking about your life growing up, just want to say thank you to the old number 7. We are out in Jador on the Eastern Shore. I am having a really, really great tasty Caesar. What are you having there, Mike?
I got the number 7 draft they make here. It's awesome.
All right.
Nice light beer.
And Tonya?
I actually don't know. You surprised me. You
Oh,
ordered
you're-
the drink.
You got a Strongbow cider, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's
Strongbow
42%. No,
There you
just
go.
joking. I think it's a low alcohol beer. Ciders are what, usually 6%, 5%?
5. Strongbow's 5%.
Yeah,
It's a
5%.
UK thing. They like their alcohol fairly low for the most
Yeah,
part. So.
yeah,
Right.
it's probably 5%.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a lightweight.
Yeah,
There you go.
It's all
cool.
good.
And these are small beers,
Those
too.
are actually small beers. Yeah.
Yeah, so they shouldn't cause too much trouble.
No.
Hey.
And this is Friday the 13th.
Yes.
So
It's a good day.
creepy, spooky stuff.
That spooky stuff, yeah.
And this place is packed. So
Yeah.
it may be a little louder than usual.
And it was just the strawberry full moon.
There you go. I have
Right.
no idea what that
Lot of-
means.
it's just-
Sounds delicious.
Well, you know how the moon has been red the last 3 days?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a strawberry full moon, and Friday the 13th is actually the day of the goddess. So
Oh,
cool.
it's been kind of changed into a scary thing, but it's actually
See,
a good
13 is my
day.
lucky number. So I actually love Friday the 13th.
Oh, cool.
So does Taylor Swift.
really?
That's true.
Yeah, you and T Swift got something
Me
in
and
common.
Swift, yeah. That's,
Yeah.
yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
We both are equally,
Bonding.
in the 13. That's right.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on. We're going to talk about cults because this is the most interesting thing that you can talk about. My wife loves that stuff.
Really?
So, yeah. So let's get kind of rolling in here. I mean,
Yeah.
First off, let's on an elementary level,
Yes.
what is a cult?
Well, I mean, I think the definition would be kind of different for a lot of different people, right? So for me, what that would define is something that really completely takes over your entire life and your entire mindset, controls every aspect of that. So what you eat, what you wear, what music you listen to, basically everything that we would make normal choices over is basically kind of like mandated by this church or this organization, right? So I grew up that way. Like I had to dress a certain way. I had to, speak a certain way as a woman.
And where was this?
Subservient. Southern Alberta.
Southern Alberta. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a woman, it was even harder.
Can you tell me exactly where in Southern Alberta it was?
Well, it was very, very south.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful because I have family. All my family members are still in.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not part of it, and so I've been
I
shunned, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've had no communication with 5 of my 6 siblings for probably 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
That's
smokes.
My nieces, my nephews, nothing.
Yeah. And as far as you know, they're all still involved with this?
Oh,
heavily?
yeah. Very much so. Very, very much so. My brother, who just passed, him and I were the only ones that had left. And we were both free thinkers, so it's like at a very young age, I knew something wasn't right. And he is too. Like, he was very open-minded.
So you, so that's the thing I was going to ask you is like, what age did you really kind of start to realize like something's not right?
Well, honestly, it started really young because I am very spiritual and I am very connected. I tell the story that kind of my first time I realized something wasn't connecting was when I was like a little girl, probably about even like 5, 6 years old. And I would lay in the grass field and I would feel super connected to everything.
Right.
Like I felt really connected to everything around me and part of it all. And then my mom would say, time to go to church. And she'd bring me in the house, put a scratchy dress, tight shoes, put me in a building and say, this is where we worship God.
Right.
And I was like, this feels so separate from where I was. Like I felt so connected to everything. And now I feel in a building with no windows and this man's talking all this fear
Yeah.
and doom. And it just didn't feel right.
Yeah,
Didn't
'cause
feel
you
right.
characterize it as a doomsday cult.
Yeah.
So like, what is it like in terms of like kind of like the beliefs and stuff like that? Was it like a Christian sect?
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Definitely
wasn't sure if it was
Christian.
like something like off of or
Yeah.
whatever, but okay, so it was,
Yeah. Fundamentalist,
Yes.
right? Like really, normal Christians would go to church on Sunday and have some, tea and crackers after and everything's great.
Right.
And no, like we were preparing for the end of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did what did they say about that? Like, what was like? I mean, as a kid, you remember like what were your bedtime stories about? Like, were they about the world ending and
Terror and
yeah?
So, we were told everyone was going to die. My teachers were going to die. Everybody that I'd come across, my schoolmates were all going to die.
Was there a
we
set
would be
date?
the only ones. There was a rough estimate, but it's all like in God's time, like, and then you're supposed to watch for signs.
Right.
So I remember.
So you're saying teachers and all that. So you were not isolated. You were still
weren't.
going
We were-
to public school and stuff.
Right. We were in the world, but not of the world.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's what we were taught. So, which is almost worse because you're trying to navigate 2 different worlds.
Yeah, that's
Right,
true.
like
That's tough for a kid.
It really is. And it's like, had we been like segregated and this was our whole world,
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways that would have been easier because here I'm in the world and I'm a sensitive child and I'm, really soft-hearted and I'm seeing all these people that I'm like, imagine sitting in a classroom and going like, all these people I care about that are my friends are all going to die any day.
And how
now.
old were you then at that time?
Well, 5 years old.
My God!
Like you're taught this.
Could you imagine
super
thinking
young.
of it like that as a 6-year-old or a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not just
Yeah.
unicorns and happy things.
Yeah,
You know?
you should be playing with
Yeah.
Barbies.
Yeah.
Fun.
This episode is brought to you by Camilla Najat with Exit Realty Metro.
Camilla Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camilla can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace.
You can reach Camilla by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca.
Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camilla Najat, Exit Realty Metro.
So it was a lot of like obviously like that kind of prep type of stuff, like prepping kind of for Armageddon. But like as far as you know, because I mean, obviously cults come with other weird things that can happen.
Yeah.
Like, was there anything else that was kind of going on like that was just way out there? Like, I know, like, you know, there's polygamy stuff and all that other weird stuff that kind of happens. I know I was in a town last year. I was in the summer.
Yeah.
And I was in a place in northern Arizona, like right on the border of Utah.
Yeah.
And they had a town where the former mayor used to run like and all the council was part of this like cult.
Yeah.
And it was a religious cult.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went to jail in 2013 for basically like child brides.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything like that going on.
There was, it wasn't open in the way that like that was part of the teachings, but a lot of stuff went on.
Yeah.
Like a lot of abuse went on.
Yeah.
Physical abuse, and it would happen in front of everybody. I remember like little kids beside me wouldn't sit still for the teachings, and just literally in front of everybody, their parents like slapping them so hard they'd fall off their chair for not sitting still. This kid's 4. How are they supposed to sit still for 2-3
exactly.
hours?
Yeah.
So, and everybody just sat there and allowed it to happen.
Right.
So there was things like that. There was basically a rule that if, say, you were being molested or some terrible thing like that was happening, 2 other people had to witness it.
Oh, okay.
And things are dealt with in the church, within the church.
Yep.
So let's
It's not
just
really
say
a system of justice.
it 100% is.
Yeah.
It victimizes women and children a lot.
Right.
And I saw a lot of that and experienced some of that. Yeah. Yeah. So imagine, you know, your uncle, your dad, your brother's doing something to you. 2 other people have to come forward. You have to sit in there with your perpetrator.
Right.
In front of a panel of other men.
And you could be a child having to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they kind of have their own justice, which isn't really justice.
I mean, as a kid, you probably brought home stuff that was, you know, full of happiness and sunlight, like bringing home, you know, you hear about a character in school that's popular, like a Mickey Mouse type character, or you hear everybody else and you start kind of living in a funner imagination. Were you scolded out of that, or like what happened when you did those normal things that kids do? Because they're always, you know, seem quite, you know, manifesting their own happiness in a sense, you know?
I'll tell you a story about the Smurfs.
Okay.
Do you remember the Smurfs?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was odd in itself. It was one like 1,000 dudes and one woman.
Yeah, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of weird.
Kind of an odd cult in its own sense.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
But I remember I loved watching the Smurfs, right? Cartoons. And I collected them, and they were this fun toy. And then a church mandate, I guess you could say, they sent it to all the churches to basically tell everyone that the Smurfs were demonic.
Oh.
And that they basically...
That's Smurfing ridiculous.
Smurfing ridiculous. Like, so Smurfing over the top. But yeah, so get all your Smurfs. So I remember gathering all my Smurfs because they were telling instances of Smurfs waking up, like strangling kids in the night. Like, like really crazy shit, okay? But like when you're in it, it's normal.
Like Elf on the Shelf level terrifying that this thing's moving around your house at night, like Chucky.
And so we had
Chucky,
to like burn it in all the toys in the burning barrel. And I remember having night terrors because I couldn't find one of the Smurfs. And but it's like, that's normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like out of it, you're going like, that was crazy. But like in it, you're just like, okay, that they are demonic. I must find them and burn them.
Were there even televisions in these, like where you were living? Like,
Yeah, there was TVs, but we could only watch certain things.
Right.
Yeah, and listen to certain music. And like as a female, we weren't allowed to pray if there was a man in the house.
You weren't allowed to pray?
Pray. The man had to pray. Like, you know, like, you pray over your meal, you're having lunch. Yep. So let's say the man was upstairs in his office and he couldn't come down and bless your meal. We would have to wear, like, let's just say this is all I had as a napkin. Mm-hmm. I would have to put the napkin on my head to pray, to say, or a tablecloth, or rag, whatever, to represent my submission to the male in the house.
Seems like humiliation without even
Right?
realizing
yeah,
it.
that's
because
what I
you're
was
so
wondering,
accustomed
yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like the origins of this cult, like, do you know how it happened? How this, like, where this came from? Was there a particular person that kind of founded this organization?
Yeah, and then basically, it's a whole governing body. There's a whole lot of
Okay.
Yeah.
How old
and
is it though? Was it something like it's like started in like 1968, or was it?
Yeah, fairly early on. Like I would say, like it hasn't been around a whole long time.
Yeah.
I'd say probably, gosh, I don't even know, like 50, 60 years maybe.
yeah.
Okay.
Enough.
So it was someone like fairly modern that just decided like, hey, we're separating from this Christian church and going
Our
further
own
down
way.
the rabbit hole.
Yeah, further down the rabbit hole. And a lot of, like I said, the doomsday of just like world ending all the time. And you notice there's a lot of crows. There's a lot of like carrion. That's, like birds, because there's an increase in that because they're going to have to eat all the dead bodies after God comes and destroys the world.
Wow.
So you're always looking for signs, and it's really like, and the thing that people don't maybe understand about being raised in that is that it really, really affects you the rest of your life. There's a lot of poverty that comes with this because you're not allowed to have an education past high school.
Oh, okay.
They really discourage you. So here you are, like, I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Yeah,
I know, weird,
okay.
right? But
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do. And then, no, you don't do that, especially as a woman. So even when you leave this, you're not set up to succeed in life.
Yeah.
And you're so sheltered that when you go into the world, you're like this shiny thing
Yeah.
that's super naive.
Yep.
And then you attract kind of predators, right?
People who know they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, because you just trust everybody and you're Pollyanna out there, and it's just, it leads to a lot of trauma, actually.
When did you leave? How old were you when you got out of this?
I was 18. I was pieced out.
18.
Yeah.
And was that an age where you got the chance to make a decision for yourself? Like, or was it just, I'm out?
Well, they tried to marry me off at 16.
Okay.
Somebody I didn't know, really.
Wow.
We had met at a big gathering, and he came over, like I was 16. My first, like, I like this boy. Yeah.
Right.
And we had to be chaperoned all of the time.
Yep.
So my younger brother chaperoned me. We went to a movie. We came home to my mom's house. Everybody was around. The church leaders in my church found out about it, and we were not allowed to speak anymore. We had to write letters for a year. And then after the year, we were assumed that now we're going to get married. And I was like, I don't even know this dude. Like,
Yeah.
So your 1 year pen pal marriage.
No, 1 pen pal marriage.
Oh my dear God. Yeah.
So by then I'm like 17 and a half.
And were
And
they
I'm just
from
like,
the
this is
same,
not
like,
for me.
were they from the same, I want to say hood, but I don't know, same area that you were from, or were they from another
They
area?
were from another city.
Okay. So this
Yeah.
cult must have had other, like,
Pockets.
pockets in other areas.
everywhere. Yeah.
Is there a name of this cult?
There again, I have to be careful because I've
why
got
else
my
so bad?
entire family's in it.
Oh,
so,
no, I get that. I
Yeah,
respect that.
it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Is it a situation where like they recruit people, or is it a situation where like people are?
Yeah.
so you're banging your hand on the
yeah.
table and trying to.
Is it a situation where they like?
There's
just
a lot of
raise you up?
recruitment. Let's
There
just
is.
put it that way.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
people can possibly start to make connections to what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, there's recruitment. So I mean, it's
And the recruitment's quite, like, I remember being a recruiter. At a
Okay.
young age, they would go, you're cute little girls. We're going to get you to go do this.
right.
And it would be like things like, they just lost like this. Oh, she's a widow. She just lost her husband. So she's going to be basically prime picking to be
Right.
recruited.
Right.
Wow.
Trying to like.
So they were bringing the people
Sell.
from different ages and such as well, eh?
Yeah, like I had dogs sicked on me. I've had all sorts of stuff happen when I tried to tell people the truth and convert them and stuff, even at a young age.
Yeah.
So would you have like a book you'd go around with like values or pamphlets to kind of explain your way?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess it's one of those things where too is like you oh, it sounds like music's starting. I thought they were going to delay that, but all right.
Oh,
Well, either way.
We'll try to carry on, guys. If not, we might have to reconvene, but we'll see what's up.
Yeah, we'll see what's up. There you go. All right, cool. All right. It's one of those. Trying to get back to where we were because I completely lost track now.
Guys, I think we got to pause.
yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
It's going to be too difficult.
It is, yeah.
Hey there. So yeah, it got a little loud out in the main floor. A guy started playing, and we knew he was coming, but we weren't sure what was going to happen. But
And the place is full.
yeah, the place
Literally
is packed,
full.
right?
Yeah.
It's a
party.
Friday night.
Yeah.
The old number 7 is a bumping place to go. They got a lot going on out there, right? So thanks to Will for letting us go into his
It's his office.
his office
We're in
here.
his office now in the back of the restaurant.
We're shoulder to shoulder in this place, but it works, and people
Yeah.
are probably thinking this is the best the show has ever sounded. So
Probably.
So thanks a lot, Will. This is
Great
great
sound.
Great
Yeah,
sound.
exactly. This is the best best sound.
So Matt,
So
where were we?
we left off, we were talking about cult recruitment and all that stuff, not being able to be educated and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Looping that back into like how hard it is to sell religion to people
Yeah.
when they don't feel they need it.
Right.
But then you were saying about how you were recruiting like old people and like who
Or
lost
people
their
that we
widows.
knew.
Yeah.
Why would they recruit like older people? What's the value? Was it to take their money?
Well, not just older people, but if anybody had a big loss,
Yeah.
Right.
right? Because like you're going to get people looking for something,
Yeah.
some answers,
Yep.
some meaning,
Yeah.
something when they're at their lowest,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So when you hit people with save your soul and like, oh my God, you're going to go to heaven. And like, this is, all those storylines when they're at their lowest point, they are
Right.
way more susceptible to those types of messages.
Yeah, and even and sometimes it's even like if they lost someone like really close to them, they're
Yeah.
also just looking for that like meaning again in their life,
100%.
and you swoop in and
Yeah.
tell them to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and like not just meaning of life, but they want to know that their loved one is okay.
Yeah,
Like, oh, they're not just gone. It's
Right.
like, no, they're actually in heaven and they're
Yeah.
living their best life, even though they're dead.
yeah. But with that though, that is something that you have carried on through your post-cultish lifestyle,
Right. Yeah.
right? Because you still very much like connect
Very
with
spiritual.
the spiritual world,
Yeah.
right?
And that's one thing I have to say I'm very grateful for is that that upbringing gave me the concept of that there's something else.
Right. You were saying about how you're grateful about how that introduced your
Like
spiritual,
the concept
the
of,
concept of
of
spirituality.
other something
Yeah.
else that
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, and that's carried out throughout my whole life because it's kind of like the Matrix. Don't you think that? Is it
Right.
the blue or the red pill? I don't know. Yeah, it just is it blue or red? The Matrix, red.
Yeah.
It's not your favorite movie. You don't know?
Yeah.
No, it's a red.
All right, cool.
So once you take that red pill, there's no going back, right?
Yeah.
So it did open up my mind to other worldly things as far
Right.
as the spirit world. So for that, I'm really grateful for. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Strategy Up. Strategy Up is a business consulting firm led by Mark Zerka, who has over 20 years' experience in building commercial strategies that will up your game, organize your teams, increase your productivity, and grow your business.
Whether you're a construction company looking to grow your revenue or a busy restaurant owner just trying to keep the doors open, Strategy Up can help. Strategy Up's boutique-style consultations will help you improve business process across nearly any industry.
Being a successful entrepreneur does not mean you have to be an expert in everything. Strategy Up specializes in building a relationship with you. Once pain points in the business are realized, Strategy Up will introduce process and technology that will power up your game to the next level.
A successful business requires investment. Your next step towards growth starts now. Email info@mystrategyup.com for a free business discovery call. Up your game with Strategy Up. Oh, that's good. And so, I mean, we kind of, I guess, a little covered it because about how it reacts to you going into the real world. So, but you mustn't, like, there must have always been a part of you that never really bought it if you were gone the minute you could go.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, like even, so I remember being probably 10, 11 years old and having to have a like emergency meeting with the elders because I was questioning things that they couldn't answer. So things like, okay, so you're telling me that God is love.
Yeah. Yeah.
That God, he's love.
Yeah.
But yet in the Bible, there's all these examples of all these horrendous things going, like Sodom and Gomorrah, and like, you know, like Lot's wife turning to salt because she turned around.
Right.
Like, you know, stories of just slaughter, and because what? You didn't believe him? Like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. Like, as a mother, even now it even makes less sense because there's nothing my kids could do that would make me not love them.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing they could do. They could murder people and I would still love them.
You know what? That kind of, I won't talk about why it came up, but it kind of came up today with somebody talking with somebody else. And we talked about how, like, there's nothing my kid could do. And I said, even if my kid turned out to be a psychopath and killed somebody, I wouldn't stop loving them. I wouldn't stop, like, having a relationship with them.
Yeah.
I would probably tell them to plead guilty.
Yeah.
And take the lumps kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll come visit you in jail. But, I could never, ever imagine, like, not having a relationship with
like, I would help them bury the bodies. Right. But I wouldn't stop loving them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So think of me as and this was my point, at 10 years old, talking to like 4 elders, 4 men that were like my superiors. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because love and God's capacity to love would be more than my capacity as an imperfect human.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So God's capacity to love would be so much greater than my capacity. How can I find forgiveness, but God can't find forgiveness?
Now, how did they react? Did your life get progressively more difficult?
Yeah, the thumb started to come down on me a lot harder.
Yeah. So, like, in what ways? What happened?
Just even with the situation with the boy I met, like,
right. Okay.
You know, I was very singled out.
Pen pals only, and you were isolated. And your investment.
And is your dress, your skirt's too short.
Who knows? Maybe they thought the marriage thing was going to help tie you in closer. And make you be less of a problem.
Yeah,
right?
a problem child.
But that didn't work.
Yeah, no, it didn't. No, because like you said, there was always a part of me that it didn't answer the things I needed answered.
Now, you must have had friends growing up, though, even in this group. Like, how do you remember them, or how do you miss them, or family? And like, do you know of anybody that got out? I know you said your siblings all stayed in, except for one brother.
Yeah, one friend reached out to me, and we've talked. You know, we keep in contact. But imagine at 18 years old, you decide you're not going to go to this church anymore, and that means you will say goodbye forever. Your community, your friends,
everything,
your family, everything.
Your identity's gone.
Everything's gone.
Pretty well, right?
Yeah.
Like, you must have changed your name or something.
No, I didn't. I was dead.
Yeah.
Like, that version of me is dead when I left, and rightly so. Like, they said, you're dead. You're dead to us.
Wow.
You're dead. So,
can you like, could you ever go back?
Like
you say, you're like, you know what? I'm back in. Like, I've come around.
I'd have to jump through would be insane.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I wonder, because they're constantly recruiting. I'm just wondering if they like re-recruit.
I think
I'm too far gone. Like, I mean, I've come out as a witch. I'm a ghost hunter. Like, I'm so far gone.
No,
I don't even think that there's anything.
But I'm just saying, like,
other people,
like, they've kind of gone back or whatever kind of thing. Yeah,
and because I'm so public. Right? Like, I'm a content creator. I've got millions of views on TikTok.
Right.
I'm so out there in public eye that I mean, maybe that'd be a feather in their cap to be like, "Oh, we got."
Well, that's
back.
the thing,
I don't
right?
know,
If you
right?
look at like the I mean, totally different thing, but the Mormon shows there, the Mormon housewife shows there. Taking off.
The wives of
We can't go
Yeah.
everywhere I go, so it tells me about how amazing that show is, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how great is that for the Mormons in a sense to have all these people paying their attention to their religion for a moment, like you know, to think about it in a different way, right, positive or negative,
Because they don't know the other stuff that goes on there.
Well, the thing is, though, is I mean, like, when you really think about that, it's like, are they aware of what it's doing? Because I mean, on one hand, like maybe they think it's positive, but like a lot of people don't. Like they watch it because
it's crazy town.
Yeah, they're judging.
Yeah.
We're watching it for
right?
the anarchy.
Yeah, they're
for the
judging
anarchy,
and stuff,
yeah.
right? The you know, we talked about this with our guests last week and everything about how petty and catty and not very
Christian.
Very hypocritical that you see they are. And I mean, they must watch the shows and then go like, wow, I'm coming across real shitty, right? I mean, you'd think.
You'd
right?
think, but like you're thinking it from your mindset.
Yeah.
Well, like
true.
if you're thinking of it from somebody who's in that.
Yeah.
Like I burnt Smurfs because I thought they were going to choke me out in the night.
Right.
Right? When you're in it. Your brain doesn't operate the same way.
No, that's true.
And like and these are things I've really started to unpack within myself is like how it's affected my relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I have attachment problems because I think there's part of me thinks, well, you're going to die anyway, like, or you're going to leave or whatever. Like, so it's affected my bonding issues because everybody's going to die.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you're taught that even like your own family members that in it could still not be good enough, that you could be tested in the time of the end where you have to watch your mother be killed in front of you and you have to have the choice of whether to whether to give it up or not to save your mother. What are you going to do?
Right.
Like these are the things you're taught as a kid, you know? So that does affect you. So there's the poverty. There's the fact that you go into a world you're not prepared for at all. And you become a target. You
are there
become
any
a
support
victim.
systems at all? Like when you...
Well, I'm part of groups like survivors groups. And so we do support each other and talk and share things. And so within ourselves, informally, there's definitely support. And you do have to seek help. Yeah. Because it affects so many aspects of your life.
Yeah.
It's such a thing that like that like you and I say, Mike. I mean, I grew up Catholic, and to some people that's a cult, but I would argue it's very much not. I mean, as much as they have religious beliefs and things like that, it's also the largest charity in the world. Yeah. I'm since a lapsed Catholic for lots of reasons that we don't need to get into right now, but it's one of those things where from people like you and I looking on the outside and talking to so many people and everything, there's things that you don't even realize. Yeah. So, for example, I was at a work function years ago, and how we start this show would be a problem for that guy. We start the show with a cheers. Right. We start the shows with a cheers. And it was, I remember we were at this work function, and that particular person had a beer. They drank beer. And I was like, cheers, bud. And he was like, I don't do that. And I was like, oh,
probably
why? I was like, that's really, I was like, what, do you hate me? Like, okay. And he was, and he just looked at me and was like, well, do you like actually like seriously want to know? And I was like, yes, I'm actually genuinely curious why you won't cheers me. And he was like, just part of his beliefs. He was a part of a particular religion that believes that when you cheers, you are essentially summoning spirits, like the goodwill of spirits or whatever it may be, like you're summoning whatever.
I see.
And you are not supposed to dabble with spirits at all, period, end of story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So not even like in good intentions kind of thing. So he doesn't do that at all kind of thing.
Right.
But that's something that's so like ingrained. And even after he told me that, I tried to make sure I remembered. Yeah. Because I spent a lot of time with him because he was a colleague. And I tried to remember, but I still remember there was a
one time where I caught myself. I was like, yeah, the guy next to me, cheers, bud. And I went, yep.
Yeah.
On the thing.
Yeah.
So, but those are things like
Yeah,
guys like
you
us
wouldn't think. Yeah.
would know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's like, even like the Catholic Church was one that my particular sect despised.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff is pagan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's really, but it's all about fear.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what I knew wasn't right. Like that little voice inside me as a little girl was just like, I can't walk through the world. I can't carry my life on based out of fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's so dark. It's so like, it's just not the way I want to move through the world is based in fear and gloom and death and
100%.
trauma. And like, it's hard enough.
Yeah.
You know, like life's hard enough.
So like getting on to like years later now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you've got out of this thing. And congratulations, right?
Yeah.
For that. And you've had a good life. You've raised children. You've became a mom. You've done a lot of wonderful things.
Yeah.
You hunted ghosts.
And you have a healing business.
Yeah.
I
You have a
do,
healing
yeah.
business. Okay.
Yeah.
But so I guess now it's coming to a point where you must have found you wanted to help others through this in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe good time to tell us a little bit about this book.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is one of I'm writing. It's just like this. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like everything's pouring out of me now. It's the time for me to do this, to share those stories. This book is based. It does touch on the cult more in the way of, because it's a children's book,
Right.
so it touches it more as the way of being a sensitive, gifted child, and because of the church, the cult, it suppressed my natural gifts. And so it's those stories about how basically I had to suppress things, and then how I came back into bringing those back into my life. And
So is the theme of the book like letting go of those suppressions, or how are you teaching through the book?
yeah, so it's basically I wanted to write the book because I wanted to help kids like me, kids who do experience, because I did experience the spirit world when I was a kid.
And I got to ask, like, how are they going to find this book? Because I mean, obviously, the places that protect it, are going to keep it away from them, right? If they want to figure this out, like, are you going to try to get it in public libraries, or what's like the strategy?
Yeah, that's my next step, is libraries, bookstores. Right now, it's available on Amazon and my publisher's website, but it's not even like kids who are in a cult, just kids who say are born to parents that are not into spiritual stuff at all.
Yeah.
Right.
And they don't get why their kids so like talking to their imaginary friend named Billy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so because when you say you're experiencing these things and then you have adults, parents, or, so people who you look up to say that it doesn't exist, then what happens? You shut that down because you're told it's not real.
Right.
Okay.
So those are the kids that I wrote this book for, is the kids to be like, that if you are experiencing these things, it's not necessarily wrong.
So it could be a kid that just doesn't maybe believe in the religion that's in his family or her family.
Yeah, or maybe they're just born to parents who don't have any kind of spirit communication or super, like, not into this at all, but they are.
It sounds interesting. And I can take this out if you don't want to do it.
What?
Did you want to read a little bit of the book, like just on the show? Like,
I can.
Yeah, like any part of the book you wanted to share with us? I was just going to get it up here because Matt sent it to me on the drive up, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. So
I know, I should have sent it.
The story is called Whispers from the Farm.
Well, that's the thing. So actually, I can even just, before she reads it, so this is what the little snippet in the back there. So Tonya is a survivor, a healer, and a guide for women reclaiming their power. After breaking free from a doomsday religion that suppressed her intuitive and healing gifts, she forged her own path, raising 3 daughters as a single mother while rediscovering her strength. Today, as a leader in divine feminine healing, Tonya empowers women through naturopathy, transformative retreats, and education. So that's what you wrote in the back, kind of like a description of you.
Yeah.
Which I mean, honestly, reading that, I think a lot of people would gravitate towards. I think that speaks to a lot of people.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, we can pull up
trying to pull it up here. It's taking a really long time to load. Maybe you're going to have more luck on your phone, Matt.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We have all this interference here.
We might have to skip through it.
It's
Who illustrated the book?
My publisher has
Okay.
people who did the illustrations, and he deals a lot with heavy subjects. That's part of the reason I went with him, is that he does deal with
Okay.
heavy subjects and puts it in a way that children can consume it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Without.
part I want
Is
to
that
talk
too
about.
small to read right there? Right from the beginning?
Oh, I could probably read that. I just have to. Okay, I can try here. Tonya had always felt different. A tender thread woven into the fabric of a rural hobby farm, nestled far from the clamor of town life. To her family, she was too sensitive. Excuse me, it's funny, my throat started closing off when I said that. Something to be tamed. But to her, the gentle sway of the willow trees, the rustle of the corn, and the silent communication with the animals were sweet melodies, the harmony that beckoned a deeper truth. As a fifth child among six, she learned to navigate the complexity of the emotional landscapes, both human and animal, bringing a mingling joy with sorrow. So what this is speaking to is the fact that I am very sensitive, I'm very soft-hearted, and raising animals and slaughtering animals, and also being sensitive to spirit communication in my childhood was not okay.
Yeah.
Right? So I talk in the book about how there were certain gifts I came into, like scrying through, and you guys would have seen us scry when we
Yeah.
did
When we did
the ghost hunt at the
infernal,
house, where we looked into the mirror and then things would appear.
Right.
Well, I was doing that at 5 years old in the bathroom. I never even heard of it or seen of it. I just knew that when I looked in the mirror and the light was a certain way, I could see figures.
Sounds like
start to
the end
come.
of a movie. Stuck in a cult, seeing ghosts in the mirror.
Yeah.
Well, and in your book, I mean, because I went through it and everything this afternoon, and I did see that, like, kind of speaking to that spiritual side of things. I know when you left and then you end up becoming a mother with your kids, you end up buying, we talked about there, you bought like a farmhouse. And in the book, it talks about how everything seemed great at first.
Yeah.
It literally, like, this sounds like the plot of a horror story.
Right.
It's like everything seemed great at first. They moved into this new town in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
But then all of a sudden, she started hearing voices.
Yeah.
But literally,
Yeah.
that's what happened to you, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to shut all that down. So imagine being raised in this cult, right? And then all of a sudden you're saying, like, oh, Mom, I'm seeing my ancestors behind me. I'm talking to great-great-great-grandmother. And
Right.
like, no, that's a demon. So you shut that stuff down, right? You
Right.
just shut it down because it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, this thing that you naturally do is all of a sudden bad and it's scary. So I shut it down for years. I had to.
Yeah.
So when I started having my daughters is when it just finally came back because they were experiencing things.
Ah, okay.
So like, what do you do? It's like I had to tap into the stuff from my childhood of like, okay, I got to protect my kids. I got to figure out what's going on because my middle daughter was communicating and not having a good experience. I was having things walk up to me, things smash in the cup. Like, it was really like heavy duty stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to go, okay, I got to bring this stuff back online because I have to protect my kids. I have to figure this out because I don't want to live like that, scared. I don't want to be in fear again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
So,
that.
yeah. So then that's what really spurred. Well, it was always there. Like, I was always experiencing things, but I just.
Have you had any time, like, have you tried, like, conventional therapies and stuff, or was you always fun? No, and I'm just asking, not to be rude.
You need help.
No. I'm just curious. I'm asking
Yeah.
out of kindness. Like, did you try going to see like a therapist at any point in
For
time?
like the cult,
for the vision,
deprogramming
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
for all of it, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
all
I
of
mean,
it,
it
yeah.
would just kind of just see how
Yeah.
all this manifested in your mind. It must have.
I mean, I went to therapy for some stuff for sure,
Yeah.
but like this was just different. Like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you have to understand this is how I experienced the world as a child. So it wasn't anything scary. It wasn't anything
Right.
different. It
Okay.
was just something I had and then had to shut down. And then it's what made sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like it's what made sense. And so, and then like you said, like your kids are experiencing this. You never talked about it. Why are, all of a sudden they have imaginary friends that play with the toys in the closet when nobody's there in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
How do you explain that? So that really woke that part up.
How are the kids now? Are they
That's
still
my
kind
next question.
of feeling that stuff? Or?
Not as much.
No?
No, they kind of, I think sometimes you just go, I just don't need to do this and to exist in this world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's what I did too for a
Maybe
long
it's be
time.
interesting to see what happens when they have children down the road. And,
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe.
the cycle will keep repeating.
Yeah,
itself.
it could be. It could.
Some
I just
sense.
think some people are born more sensitive than others, and they experience things differently. The world is just a little different for them, and so either you suppress who you naturally are, or you don't.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of misery that comes with suppressing who you are.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I believe that too.
100%.
yeah. And so that's really what it's about. Is like if you are experiencing the world this way, you're not broken.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong. You're not possessed by a demon.
Right.
Right. Like this has brought me a lot of joy in my life and a lot of understanding of the spiritual world. And it's like, I study ancient mystics. I study it's not just like wooey, let's get a crystal and put it on our third eye. Like, like I study like esoteric, the masters, like a lot of, some of the stuff's, starting to be scientifically proven. So it's not as like mystical. Science is starting to actually speak to some of this stuff. So.
Fascinating stuff. I do agree.
It really is.
100%.
Yeah.
It's blending quantum physics and science with the mystery.
May I also say it's getting really hot in this closet because we got to keep the door closed.
Yeah. So Whispers from the Farm is what the book is called.
Yeah.
So, and you said it's available on the publisher's website and it's available online on Amazon.
On Amazon, yeah.
So definitely keep an eye out for that. I say we move right into our 10 questions because our 10 questions are definitely going to trigger some things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So question number 1, I'll kick it off. So what other avenues in life do you see cult style behavior?
Well, I see a lot like politics.
That's where I
100%.
see it. Yep.
I see a lot of it in these multi-level marketing companies.
I can see
these
that
MLM
stuff
companies. There's serious cult behavior there.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's like ours is the best, and that's it, and like we're only friends with each other, and like there's a lot of cultish stuff that goes on in there.
Politics for me is just too much. Like honestly, it's like people just blindly follow somebody. Some people may love this or hate this, but I firmly believe that Trump is a cult. That's my thought. Not Republicans.
Yeah.
MAGA, because I see so much of it where it's like you watch these people go in there and they talk to them and they say like, hey, do you think this? And they're like, oh yeah, I think this. And then they prove to them that they're wrong. Like they prove the opposite of what they think. And they're still like, nah, no, that's not it. And you're wrong. Like that's a lie. That's fake news. Right.
Yeah.
So that is like, I see so much in politics.
I could say that about Trudeau, people who believe Trudeau too, about a lot of stuff. And so I think
everywhere.
Honestly, it's all of them.
It is all of them. Oh, don't get me wrong. It exists in all of it. I just see it more in MAGA than I see in anything else. But yes, every single person who blindly, because there are people who blindly follows any political party, like the real party subscribers, where it's like, have you voted for anyone else in the last 20 years? No. Right. Why? Right.
But that's the difference between like free thinkers.
Yeah.
Right. Because what's happening there is like, are these even your thoughts? Like, and that happens with all sorts of things now. Yeah. I find like cancel culture. Like, it's like, come on, like, okay, fine, that's not your style of comedy, but do we have to cancel the dude? Just don't watch it.
You know what?
Just don't watch it.
There was a comedian, and I've actually kind of subscribed to this now. This comedian said there's no such thing as cancel culture. You just change your audience. Yeah. And I kind of believe that now.
Yeah, but it's that idea, of that idea of cancel culture of just basically like, you don't believe what I believe, so that's it. You're done. And it's like, personally, I like flavor. I like differences. And if I can't have a conversation with you and not get mad, like, then is it my actual belief system, or who am I trying to convince, myself or you? Or argue? Because either you really feel that or you don't. and you're just trying to regurgitate
Yeah.
All right.
what you've heard.
I would have canceled this conversation and moved to question number 2.
Question number 2.
Question number 2. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, oh God, there's so many.
Just one movie that you
Lord
love.
of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings?
I'm a
Cool.
huge Tolkien fan.
Oh, man, you're 1 out of 3. We're not Lords of the Rings fans here.
No,
Really?
that's not true.
You like it?
I love Lord of the Rings.
Okay, I don't like it. I'm sorry,
Oh.
personally. Right?
No, I'm a big Tolkien fan.
It's okay, though. Yeah.
All right. Question number 3.
Just with the Hobbits. I'm just not a fan.
All right. So question number 3. This is a direct throwback to you. How do you think the world will end?
How do I think the world will end? Oh God. I don't think it will.
No?
No,
Okay.
I don't think it will.
I mean, I think it will. It'll just be like 4 billion years from now.
Yeah, and I think we'll just start again. No, it'll be
Oh,
the
yeah.
6th extension, and we'll start again.
Yeah.
It's just cycles.
That's
That's how I
true.
see it. It's just cycles.
Robots.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
or
energy,
robots or robots.
You can't destroy energy.
No, that's
Energy
true.
always exists in one form or the other. So I
There
don't
is a
think it
theory
will.
that there's been multiple Big Bangs. So there is
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your turn, Matt.
No,
Oh,
I
it's
just
my
asked
turn.
that question.
Okay.
Question
this
number
is-
4?
Okay, this is a terrible question, because while we were here, they have the Trailer Park Boys special burger.
Yeah.
So they kept playing the Trailer Park Boys theme song over and over again here at the place to celebrate the burger that just came out today. So it was a lot of hearing the same song over and over
Yeah.
again. But if you had to listen to one song forever, what would it be?
Oh, these are hard questions. I just like so much of so many different things.
Just one song you could
one
listen to.
song.
On repeat for a while.
Music. I don't think I can't answer that.
No?
I really can't.
That's all right.
That's
I
all right.
love music.
We'd
so-
say take a drink, but we left them in the other room.
Yeah.
So
Finished them.
or we finished the 3. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to the next question then.
Yeah.
Have you ever been starstruck if you met a famous or celebrity ghost?
Ghost.
Yeah, like have you ever met a ghost that was famous? You ever been a little starstruck who was like a famous celebrity
So
ghost?
who would be Edgar Casey?
Edgar Casey.
He's he has the largest collection of psychic readings in the world.
Okay.
And he was called the Sleeping Prophet.
Okay.
And he would go into these trance-like states and give incredible readings that were accurate.
Okay. Cool.
And he died in basic poverty because he did it for free for people to help them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Edgar Casey.
So okay. So if you're saying if you ever met him like in ghost form,
Yeah.
like you would be like
I'd be
starstruck,
like,
okay, all right.
oh my God.
Over to you,
All right.
Mike.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yes,
Awesome.
100%.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
That's a
All
whole
right.
other podcast. I had a few experiences. Anyway, moving on.
We'll see you again.
I think there's one that we skipped over, but I'll go back to it. Do you believe in evolution?
Evolution in the form of like what do you mean
evolution
by
of-
that?
Monkey to man, fish to mammal.
No,
Little brains forming in the ocean.
No.
Little brains turning into little brains getting fins.
no. I believe in creation,
Little brains getting
but not in
exoskeletons.
creation in the religious sense. But
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so you believe in
I believe in
creation.
a grand design.
Ooh, damn. Okay.
There's blends. It's a spectrum.
I'm more of an evolution guy, I think. But we'll see.
Yeah, but you know what
we're all
though?
friends
There can be
here.
both.
What?
There can be both.
Evolution. Yeah.
Yeah,
There can be both. There really can be
There
both.
could be both.
There's what's his face? That not Neil deGrasse Tyson, but the British guy with the long hair kind of thing. He was talking about that and said that even though he firmly believes in evolution and science and everything, he said that doesn't mean
There's not creation.
that there's not creation as
Yeah.
well.
Mm.
And vice versa. Just because there's
Yeah.
creation does not mean there's not. We're evolving right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
we are. So I believe
This podcast evolved tonight.
It sure did. It went from ape to human pretty quick.
All right. Okay. Where are we at here? Scariest place you've ever been? I always feel like that
Yeah.
was the cult place. Well, it's probably the worst place you've
Stop
ever
answering
been.
question for.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll try.
Like scariest place I've ever been.
Yeah.
She also ghost hunted. Maybe it was
Yeah,
scary.
that's super. Yeah,
That's scary?
yeah. I'd probably say Freetown State Forest in the States. That was like really terrifying. But we were paranormal investigating, so we kind of went there on purpose.
Okay.
That's legit.
This one require a little psychic power onto you, Matt?
Yes, that's right. Because this is coming out within the time frame of it, I figured I'd throw this out there. Who will win the Stanley Cup, Florida or Edmonton?
You're asking an Alberta girl, so what do you think? Probably oh God, I don't even follow sports.
Just so you know, as we sit here on Friday the 13th, it is tied 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, with 3 games left. So it's a best out of 3 series right now.
I say Edmonton.
All right, there you go.
That could just be my Alberta blood coming out.
There you go. Last question.
Yeah, last question. We ask every guest this one. What's one piece of advice you were given that you would like to share with us or to others listening today?
Piece of advice.
You got it through your life at any point.
Honestly, just authenticity. Don't be scared to be weird.
I like that.
I like that.
Be authentically yourself, even if because the right people will find you. And you don't want people in your life that aren't going to accept you for all your weirdness.
I love that.
You should actually make T-shirts that says "Don't be scared to be weird."
Yeah,
I think that could catch on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Scared to be weird.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah,
this is a lovely thing. We're going to cheers on high fives, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Afternoon Pint. We are an independent podcast and we need your support. Please take a moment to hit that like, follow, and share button. Email us if you have an idea or suggestion for the show. Please send your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.